Welcome into the Paul Farrington Show, a reaction to the Packers' 34-13 win over Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. A scary day to be an NFC North fan right now. Caleb throws for 4 touchdowns in the morning. Jordan Love, 4 touchdowns this afternoon. All of a sudden, even though the Vikings are 5-0, I'm watching these quarterbacks, I'm watching these teams go, and I'm saying, all right, we're going to have a battle on our hands this year. It's supposed to be a calm Sunday morning. I'm watching Caleb Williams in Chicago blow out their second straight team. That's not something I wanted to see. That's not something I was ready for this early. It's kind of exactly what we thought Chicago could look like at some point this year. That's the version of them we saw today. Probably only going to get better, so we do have to pay attention to them. The Packers, though, when I think about Chicago, I think about a team that's going to get there. They don't scare me yet, but right now I'm monitoring them. Green Bay is a team that scares me. Green Bay scares me a lot. And during the Viking-Packer game, when the Vikings were up 28-0, I'm thinking, okay, this could take a while to get Jordan Love back to where he needs to be. First off, let's remember, small sample size of his career. I know he's $55 million a season. He's paid like one of the best quarterbacks. But let's hold on, because he still needs to get comfortable again. Plus the injury on top of that. And here we are, 2 weeks right after that Viking game. Second half, Jordan Love goes berserk. He has a good game against the Rams, some up and downs. And then this is the Jordan Love. This was the Jordan Love we saw last year. The guy who turned it on over the final 10 games of the season, played like an MVP, 22 for 32, 258 yards. As I said, 4 touchdowns, just 1 interception. This is the Love that terrifies NFC North, NFC fans. And he just has so many weapons. When he's on and he's seeing the field well, you get it to Christian Watson, who had a touchdown today. You get it to Romeo Doubs, who had 2 touchdowns today. You think he's happy now after holding out for a couple of weeks? Sure, 3 receptions, 49 yards, but when 2 of them are touchdowns and that second one, really impressive catch by Romeo. Good to have him back in the offense if you're a Packers fan. Jaden Reed had a touchdown. I think he's the best receiver on this team. Only 28 yards, 6 receptions, and a touchdown. Get him the ball any way you can. Josh Jacobs gets involved. Wicks had a few catches. This Packer offense just comes at you in waves. And this was the first time now that we've kind of seen them really comfortable, everybody healthy for a full game. And that's when they're a problem, man. That's when you just have to buckle up and get after Love, or else if you don't get pressure, they'll pick you apart. And there's too many weapons all over the field. I said Chicago earlier in the reaction sort of has that feel to it, but they're not as refined as Green Bay is. I thought Matt LaFleur, those first few drives today, guys, watching the Packers march up and down the field. And again, I want to emphasize, I'm not just talking positively about the Packers for the sake of talking positively. They played really well today. Against the Rams, they had their struggles. Against the Vikings, we made it clear that they had their struggles. Today, they played really well. So I have to give them their flowers. Earlier on in the first quarter, they were just picking apart the Cardinals. It was up and down, so easy for them. And LaFleur didn't really have a need to take a deep shot. I think the offense is explosive, but it was just little passes, and Love was on. He was accurate. They were just marching right up and down the field, scoring at will, and that's how you get out to a 24-0 lead. It could have been a lot worse than that if they hadn't turned the ball over on an interception where Bo Melton actually fell down. If he doesn't fall down, we might be going into halftime looking at a 20 or 31-7 or 27-7. That turnover helped Arizona kind of get back into it until Green Bay put their foot down on their throats. So again, really impressive performance across the board. Then you start to see some of those explosive plays in the second half, or really later in the second quarter with the Christian Watson deep bomb. That's when the Packers are scary, when they can pick you apart middle of the field and then they go over your head. So kind of the perfect day to be a Packer fan. On the defensive side of the ball now, Kyler Murray and the Cardinals, I know that they're not a team that everyone's talking about all the time, but they do have explosive ability. And look at the wins they had this year. I mean, just last week, they beat the 49ers, who are most people's pick to go to the Super Bowl still. Even at 3-3 now, people still fear San Francisco. If I asked any NFC fan, what team is it that scares you the most? It's probably not the 5-0 Vikings. It's probably not the Lions, even though their offense is a juggernaut. It's going to be the 49ers, because when they're healthy, they're terrifying. So to be able to beat a Cardinals team who just beat that San Francisco team, hold Kyler to 214 yards and just 1 touchdown. Marvin Harrison did get hurt, but there was never any point in this game where it felt like the Cardinals were really in it. And frankly, that's because the Cardinals kept fumbling themselves out of the game. It was every time I turned on the TV, it seemed like Arizona had the ball on the ground and Green Bay was recovering that. And it's credit to Green Bay for making plays when they had to. Quay Walker, 11 total tackles in this one, all over the field. Javon Bullard, he's just been unbelievable as a rookie. The Xavier McKinney interception streak comes to an end, but I think overall the Packers would say compared to last year, this defense is playing a lot better. Over the past 2 weeks, they've looked a lot better, and they're 4-2 here. So the one concern I might have is Braden Narveson and the field goal kicking. He's missed a kick in 5 of the 6 games this season, and 2 for 3 today. And you got to give a rookie a chance to kind of come into his own in this league. I remember the Vikings cutting Daniel Carlson after he botched the Packer game a few years ago. One of the best kickers in the NFL now for the Raiders. But the problem is, this is on top of minds for Packers fans because this is exactly what happened with Anders Carlson last year, and it cost you in the NFC Championship game. So every kick feels a little magnified because it's the thing that you were focusing on all offseason. There was the whole competition with Greg Joseph, and Narveson wound up being the winner out of nowhere. I mean, it was Carlson or Joseph, and next thing you know, Narveson's kicking field goals. So 5 out of 6 games, he's missed one. It's okay right now, but when those games get bigger, when you start playing the NFC North teams, and the NFC North is really good, you can't have those missed kicks. And I mean, he did it against the Vikings right off the bat in that game. Narveson missed a kick, and the Vikings are up 28-0. That was a big momentum changer when he missed that. So it's something to keep an eye on if you're a Green Bay fan. And big picture here before we end: Packers are 4-2, Bears are 4-2. No big deal. The Vikings are 5-0. Haven't really tasted a loss this year. Can't really remember what that feels like. And then the Lions are playing Dallas right now. So we'll have a bigger reaction to the NFC North later today. We'll go live, actually, with Ziggy, with Jack. We'll be in person. First time I'm seeing Ziggy in 3 years. I can't believe it's been that long. It's kind of crazy. But we'll be at our old table, actually, that we used to sit at with Andrew and Jack for the people who used to watch way back in the day. And that'll be really exciting to talk about. But the NFC North, we got the best division in football by far at this point. If the Bears get going, I think these are 4 playoff teams, and actually there's a chance we could see 4 from one division, which I'm not sure that's ever happened before. Probably has not happened before, since 7 is so recent, 7 playoff teams. But the reason this is a big win for Green Bay, especially, is because you got to keep up. You have to keep up with all these teams. You have 3 losses. You're 3 behind the Vikings. Plus, you don't have the tiebreaker at this point in time. And everyone knows how important that home field is. We talked about who had the most important home field or the best home field advantage in the division. He said the Packers might have the best one. So you want those games in Lambeau Field. You got to beat teams like the Cardinals, who aren't juggernauts by any means, but are solid teams, and to kick their ass. Ziggy said he was going to be a blowout. And a lot of people said, nope, that's not what we do. Guys, you guys have blowout wins. You blew out the Vikings in the New Year's nightmare, the New Year's massacre that we call it last year. Blew out the Cowboys in the playoffs. Like, the Packers blew out the Titans a few weeks ago. I mean, this team is very capable of winning by a lot of points. And they did not take their foot off the gas today, really. So there you have it. 34-13 win. Packers beat the Cardinals. The NFC North keeps on rolling. We'll have the full reaction to Week 6 coming up in a few hours.